I got drugged at my buddy's pool party. This is no plot to a movie script. This is a real story and probably one of the craziest things that has ever happened to me. A couple of years ago, we go up, my group of buddies from college, we go meet our buddy Luke at his apartment at the time for his birthday weekend. He had this pool there, some of the craziest parties that have ever been thrown at an apartment complex, I promise you. Some place up in Columbus. It would pop off every weekend in the summers. And I'll even start with the fact that I'm the lightweight of the group, 100%. With that being said, I had eaten a full meal, like hydrated the night before, full night's sleep, like I was prepared for my buddy's birthday. And I was the first friend there, which doesn't happen very often. So me and Luke were a couple hours ahead of everybody. We go down to the pool, start drinking. He introduces me to some of his friends. I'm flirting with girls, having the time of my life. You know, it's summertime pool party. You can't beat that I think I was like 22. I was fresh out of college at the time. It was a packed pool, but you know, that's one thing as a guy, like not to be sexist in today's society, all you strong, independent females. But you don't worry about getting drugged or people put anything in your drink as a guy. It's just one thing you're not really looking out for. Plus, I'm with a group of friends, so I'm not really worried about it. As my other buddies start to show up, we're drinking, and when you looked around, like most people had the same type of drinks, the seltzers, beer cans, whatever. But I just wasn't, probably about 2 hours into drinking, I was just feeling off. And I don't know if it's because we were sitting out in the sun or because we were drinking these old beers that my buddy brought up from his garage, but I was like, just something was off. And not like my normal, like, oh, I drank too much again, like I'm down for the count and start puking. I'm talking like my body is like physically not working well. And at this point, the majority of the party crowd has left. It's getting later in the evening. And we're still planning on going out to the bars tonight. So I go and lay down in a pool chair, trying to just feel like, I'll take a little nap and I'll probably feel better by the time they're ready to leave. I fall asleep for about 2 minutes and I wake up just violently puking. And of course, all my buddies are like, oh boy, he's a lightweight. And my buddy Luke was going to walk me back and I was like, no, don't. Like, just stay here. I'll just go back. And because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, Tom, you fucking lightweight. Like, you can't hang. Will you get your shit together? Will you just hang for one time at your buddy's birthday? You know, like that type of thing. He gives me his apartment keys, and as I start walking back, I'm like down for the count. About halfway through this walk, I'm like, my motor skills are losing function. One of our buddies showed up real late because he had to work that day. So as we pass each other, he said, hey, Tom, you good? And I'm like, I'm trying to say I'm good, and it's just not working. I'm like Leo in The Wolf of Wall Street when he takes the lemons.
Pow. I mean, I had skipped the tingle phase and went straight to the drool phase.
By the time I get to these apartment stairs, I can't walk. I'm crawling up these stairs. I'm like, what the hell? And in my head, I'm consciously like, what is going on? Like, I'm losing all motor skills. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've been that drunk in my life. So, like, I know the feeling of teetering on a blackout, like you're throwing up, you're that faded, you know, you're that fucked up or whatever. I'm not like that. I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, I can realize that something ain't right, but my body's just not cooperating. So I'm crawling up the stairs. I'm screaming to Luke's roommate at the time because I know he's in the apartment. I'm like, help!
Jordan.
Help me! Help me! Because I'm freaking out myself. I'm like, is my central nervous system fucked up? Like, did I pinch a nerve or something when I jumped in the pool? Like, I don't know what's going on. And he was on the third floor. Because I started to try, as I started walking up the stairs, at first I was walking all right. I was trying to hang on to the railing, and then I just went down. So I'm crawling up these stairs. I crawl around to the apartment, and I can barely get my hand up to the door, and I'm shaking the door. And now my mouth is just not moving. I like am just groaning like.
What?
Country club. And all I remember is his roommate opening the door, and then boom, I wake up hours later, laying on a half blown up air mattress in Luke's bedroom, and my buddies are getting ready to go out to the bars. And I'm like, what the fuck? It is one of those unfortunate things, like, no one's going to believe me because I'm already the lightweight of the group. I can't prove anything, but I'm telling you, I was drugged this day. Like, I will take that shit to my grave. I was drugged at my buddy Luke's birthday. I know it for a fact. And there's way more stories to that day. Actually, I hit one of my buddy's cars that day. My other buddy called us from a homeless guy's phone. There was so many stories from that day, but we'll get to all those with them because I cannot tell those stories alone. too funny to not have him on the podcast for. But that was one of the craziest things. And I don't know, what freaked me out even more is, like I said, the reason I said a lot of people had the same drinks there is because I'm more like, there were so many girls at this pool. I'm like, maybe there was some sketchy dude like drugging girls' drinks or something. Because like I went to pick up my drink, and I don't know if I grabbed the right can. And I'm looking back thinking about it, because nobody believed me. I had plenty of time to reflect that night, like because I was by myself at the apartment all night while they all went out. But I'm like, I remember because I only had like 6 drinks up to that point. I was drinking beer, so I had like 6 Busch Lights, I think, or Bud Lights, something like that. So it's not like I was drinking heavy because I knew that it was going to be an all night affair. But it was absolutely insane. I was like, I really didn't know what was going on. And I'll never forget trying to get up those stairs as the lights were going out. Total motor function. I wish I would have had a third-party view of that because I was crawling up these apartment stairs. And anyone who knows apartment complexes, I'm talking like 10, 15 steps that I'm just dragging myself up because my legs stopped working. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was in that Bud Light, but it wasn't a normal alcohol type of day. I definitely think that I was drugged. So that would be my little piece of advice on here is always go hang out with the boys. Don't miss your buddies' significant events in their life for sure. Something that like you go through stretches, especially when you're trying to do the social media stuff. I think you go through stretches where you're just focused on, man, I got to post, I got to record podcasts, I got to do this stuff. But for anyone who is chasing a dream, especially on the creativity side, I know sometimes you just get sucked in those wormholes where you're like, I got to lock in and do this, and it's got to be me, and I got to be on my own, and that, and sometimes I do fully believe that is fine, especially if it's depending on the type of project or career that you're in. But don't forget the reason that you start chasing that. I think that's just so important. Like for me, that's why I do spend so much time with my family and my friends, is because you gotta remember why. That's one thing that, like, if I ever am fortunate enough to really blow up and be one of those 6-figure social media people, that's why I always keep my friends and family close to heart, because it's like I see so many people that just let the fame and the money get to their head and become something that they're not. And I just never want to do that. I really don't. And the reason I publicly air that out all the time is because I want you all to unfollow me or absolutely flame me in the comments if I ever become one of those douches out here flexing his money and acting like he's something special just because he got enough followers on social media. The reason I point this out is because it's been my biggest annoyance with social media in general is, like, I don't really, if I'm scrolling social media to watch content, I want to watch content. I don't want to see these ad posts, these boosted posts, the TikTok shop stuff. If you're just on there to sell products and stuff, like, fine. But if you're out to be a social media influencer or creator or whatever they call them nowadays, I can't stand when I see people that, they just pay all this money for bot followers or boosted posts and the ad posts. Like, you're basically just cheating and it's not even real at that point because most of those followers aren't even real. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, my thing is, and it's a principle that I'll stand on, like I'll die on this hill. It's one of those things, like if I never blow up big enough to make significant money where I can just not work and be on social media, I want to be genuinely good enough where I just attracted and won over enough people that you like what I'm doing enough to actually listen to it. Because that's a true product of entertainment. Like if you're just hitting the numbers because you're paying for them or you're paying for your posts to get pushed up in the algorithm or whatever they supposedly do for you on these social media platforms, then you're not even a real influencer. You're not a real creator. Like there's no true creativity or, I guess you could say, journey to actually becoming good enough at what you do that your craft is represented in your followers. Like, even if there's certain people on social media that I don't like if they truly made it without all the promoted posts and fake followers and all that stuff, then they're good enough at their craft that you have to respect them because they did it that way, and you can look at the numbers. And that's my thing. It's like, I want every single person who follows me to be a real person. Whether you're a hater or you're my biggest fan, like, I want to earn that. I want to genuinely develop myself as a podcaster, as a social media person, as a video editor, like whatever, all the different things that are required to do it. Just be good enough at it. And I think that goes for any career. Like, if you really want to make a name for yourself and you want to make a way, there's no cheating to the top. Like, go earn it. Because then when you get there, then it feels real and people will respect you more because you didn't cheat your way to it. You earned it. So regardless of what anyone thinks of you, go look at the numbers. I earned this shit. And that's one thing for me, like, on TikTok, like, it honestly is, even though it's just TikTok and it's probably not that many followers for a lot of people, like, for me to have more than 150 followers on TikTok, like, that's one of the most humbling things in the world for me. Like, I'm still that little kid from Crittenden, Kentucky. That is 100% how I will always look at myself, and it's not because I don't want to have a good self-image or respect myself, but I think you have to stay humble and appreciate the fact that, like, I'm only of any relevance on social media because other people gave me an opportunity and they listened to me. And that means something. That's important. And I think a lot of our creators, once they get to a certain level, they forget about all that. When it's like, the power is still with the people. Like, we're a lot like politics in a way. Like, you could go ahead and unfollow us and empty our pockets in a heartbeat. So just keep that in mind to anyone out there who feels like if you feel like your social media influencer that you like is not really going down the path that you think they should be. Keep that in mind. Power's still with the people in this world of social media. So with that being said, I really appreciate all of you for following me. I really mean that shit. I mean, it is really, it's nice to put in the work and to see people actually recognizing it and enjoying your content. So I really appreciate all of you, and we're just gonna keep going. Like I said, I don't have anything to present to you but me and the people that I love. So hopefully that's enough to take us somewhere. And I appreciate all of you, and we'll be back with more episodes soon. Talk to the time.
Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get easier? I'll be up and away up the street getting paid, but I can't even breathe no more. What's it to me? What can I see? Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more.
Mic check. Yep.